Hi there, YouTubers, and welcome to Learning with Lou again. Let's talk about organics, right? So my wife and I decided we were going to go and go totally organic. Um, I mean, for the most part, organic is a great way to go. Well, for every part. I mean, um, it's the big thing is removing the genetically modified stuff and the pesticides. And we also try to stay away from meat. Occasionally we'll go out and have fish. Occasionally meaning every, well, once a month or whatever, we'll have some fish. And I try to eat something like trout that I know came out of a lake or something like that. But I like it grilled, you know. So, and when we eat at a restaurant, we kind of pick the good foods like you know, vegetables and maybe a baked potato and stuff like that. Smoothies if they got them. And you got to watch that because a lot of places claim they're smoothies, but they're just like a syrup. They squirt in some ice and then they grind it all up in a mixer, and they call that a smoothie, which is not a smoothie to me. A smoothie is actually food. Anyway, so we started eating organic because it was good for us. And you really notice the price difference right away. And you notice the health difference. Now here's the tricky part. When you go out to eat, you're putting your health in somebody else's hands. And I guarantee you, there might be a restaurant out there, I don't know, I haven't found it yet, but they don't care about your health. Not one iota, not a smidge. You don't believe me? Google canola oil and side effects. You'll see canola oil is one of the most dangerous things that you can put into your body. And it used to be called rapeseed oil, but nobody was eating anything with rapeseed oil because they knew rapeseed oil is bad for you. So they changed the name to canola oil. So I go up to restaurants and stuff and I ask, what do you cook in? And if they say canola oil, I don't eat there. Even when you present the data to, let's say, even a little place that makes French fries on the corner of the street or anywhere, when you present the data of what canola oil does to their customers, they don't care. And they're not about to stop using it. Even if it meant they had to change to a different oil, which you know, lard would be good. And it has to be good lard. Can't be lard full of, you know, it's got to be like organic lard. So it's got to be good lard. So even if it meant them raising the price of their food a little bit to make up for that, they won't do it. I don't know if it's that competitive out there or it's just the inconvenience of lard because it's a little harder to clean up after. I don't know what it is. And you know what? I just stay away from canola oil. It's a shame because we go to this one place where they have a beautiful salad bar and they serve hot food there too and cold salads, and they have lists of every bit of stuff they put in their food, and canola oil's in a lot of it. So I walked up to the chef and I said, do you know that canola oil is in almost all your food? He said, yes. And I said, do you know that canola oil is bad for you? Yeah. And So why do you put it in the food? And he says, because it's the cheapest thing we can use. And we're a business. We're here to make money. So they weren't interested in changing. So along with eating organic, we learned the value of not eating meat, staying away from dairy products. I mean, there are times where we will eat meat, you know, like we go to somebody's house for Christmas or a birthday, and they have meat or barbecuing something, and we didn't bring any of our own type of meat. We definitely don't want to eat pork. When you've got a whole bunch of religious books, you know, telling you don't eat pork, not just the Bible, I mean, they're all out there, right? The Quran, you name it, the don't eat pork. I mean, good idea, you know, maybe you know, somebody up there knew what he was talking about. So we just don't take the chance, and we stopped eating. So, I mean, these are all personal decisions, but so we go organic, and we stopped eating all that garbage and drinking milk, and we only drink almond milk, and I know we should be making our own, but it's all about convenience and time and all that stuff too. So the importance of eating raw is just as important as eating organic. So I'm going to give you some examples. So let's suppose I eat a cob of corn. I'm eating that corn and I'm eating it raw. When I go to the washroom the next day and I look back, I'm not going to find niblets, right? There won't be any in my defecation. There won't be any of my feces. There won't be anything there. Poop, whatever you want to call it. Okay. If I cook the corn, I'll definitely see it there. So here's what I think's happening. When you cook anything, it changes the taste. And when it changes the taste, it often makes it taste sweeter. So your body sees that as sugar. Right? So sugar, it uses for energy. It stores sugar, and it creates fat, right? So, but the niblets coming out are the parts of your body's rejected. So it's pretty much rejected all that corn now, because it doesn't see it as something it can use. Do this yourself. Don't trust me, right? So now, if you eat raw meat, it tastes much different than cooked meat. And they learned that a long time ago. Man did. When they, either by accident or on purpose, cooked something for the first time. And they realized that this cooked meat gave them more calories. Well, yeah, because it changed the molecules, right? So now the body sees it as sweeter, so you get more calories. You can do this research yourself. I've done it. It's easy to figure out. So you're out there and you're buying organic, and you're thinking, "Ooh, I'm doing a great thing." Well, you are. I mean, you're staying away from GMO and you're staying away from pesticides, which is fantastic. And you're encouraging the market to go where it should be, because in the old days, you know, when I was a kid, it was just called food. And if they would have modified food or sprayed food or anything like that, then that would have got a different name. But nowadays, it's like the crappy food is normal food names, and what we used to call normal food is now organic, which doesn't make, wrap your head around that. I mean, that's complicated, right? So obviously these people know it's bad for you. They don't want to put a label on it, right? So Anyway, so you're buying organic, and you're thinking you're doing the right thing. Okay, so let's look at juice. Best way to do juice is to make it yourself, right? Get a juicer and make juice. So if you make your own juice, you'll find that it'll separate, and it separates. You gotta shake it up every time you use it, and that's a good thing. Okay. The last thing you would consider when you make your own juice is to boil the snot out of it, right? Because you know that when you made your own juice, it's full of goodness. It's full of enzymes. It's full of all kinds of goodness. I mean, vitamins and everything else. So you would never think of cooking the heck out of that juice. This is exactly what they do in the stores, right? So if it says it's pasteurized, that means they've cooked the heck out of it. And it's not going to separate. Put it in your fridge, it's not separating. It's changed. It's no longer what it used to be. It used to be something your body totally understood, would absorb and enjoy every bit of that nutrition. But it's changed. So you go and you buy the juices that you like, but they say organic, but they're also pasteurized. And I guess that's okay. I mean, we do that. I mean, we like the taste of orange juice, but you know what? If you were to try, and this is like, you really have to start thinking about this stuff. I tried to make my own orange juice, all right? So for me to make the same amount of orange juice that they sell for $3, that's a big bottle, I'd have to buy like $20 worth of oranges. So how are they able to make you, and they're going to make a profit, so I guarantee you that $3 bottle of orange juice, they probably made it for 5 cents. Probably the bottle costs more than the juice. So how can they do that? Well, I would guess they're not putting the best oranges in there. You know, I used to help out on an apple orchard, and we pick up all the apples that fell on the ground, the ones with the worms in them, the bugs in them. They were rotten, squishy, smelly. They didn't care. They wanted them all picked up, so we put them in a box, all kinds of big boxes. And they told us that that becomes apple juice, apple cider, apple sauce. So what they do is they cook the heck out of it, right? They want to take out all the germs and stuff that, you know, and that will make it go bad. And well, then of course they're going to probably add coloring, and they're going to add flavoring, and they're going to do whatever they can to make that juice look like the juice it's supposed to be. But if you've ever made your own apple juice, you'll see that it's nothing like the apple juice they sell in the store. Okay, it's not that color, it's not that consistency, and it tastes 1,000 times better. It's incredible, the taste. I've taken apple juice to work that I've made, and just floors everybody how much better that apple juice tastes being made by yourself. Now, apple juice is a little more economical to make. Well, it's a lot more, because you can buy apples in big bunches, especially during the season. You can buy bushels of it, and you can make lots of apple juice. It doesn't keep very long, but again, like I've said in other videos, I add some colloidal silver, like a tablespoon to a liter of juice, shake it up, and it's going to make that last like 3 times longer, right? So it's all good. Like, you can do this. So you're going and you're buying organic, and now you're buying your juices, and they're all pasteurized. So that means that chances are they've added artificial vitamins and stuff like that, and I guarantee you they're not going to be the kind of vitamins you'd want, right? So they're going to be artificially made vitamins. humans. I don't know how they do that, but I just got a sneaky suspicion it's not a good way. So they had all that because there is none. They've just removed it all with all the cooking they did to it. Then you're going to probably want to go out and buy some enzyme pills to make up for the cooking of your organic food that no longer has enzymes. Because your body needs that, right? Because the enzymes on food, that if you sit an apple out and it starts to go bad, or bread and it starts to go bad, I mean that's a sign that that is a good to eat food, because the enzymes on it are starting to break it down. It broke my heart when the scientists claimed that they have invented the apple with no enzymes, because people are tired of seeing apples go bad. Like, really? And they're uneducated people. You know, they have to learn that enzymes are a major part of everything that happens to our bodies. So you start to buy organic food that's pre-made. You might see organic crackers, organic cookies, organic whatever. So again, all that stuff was cooked. So you're eating all this stuff. It's cooked. Your body is not getting it. It's saying, like, I don't understand what this is. And it's letting it pass. Now, if you're like me, I do coffee enemas. And when you look back, you're going to see all the stuff that your body rejected. It didn't eat. It didn't want. And a lot of it is, well, all of it is all this food that's cooked. So I read a book once on eating raw. So these people have devoted their lives to eating raw food. And there's a lot of recipes out there, delicious recipes on raw food. It isn't just eating an apple or a celery stick, right? So he did in his research, he found out that people were not meant to eat meat. Right? It's a backup system. If we run out of food, there's always meat, but it isn't supposed to be the primary food source. So what he did is he started to eat just raw fruits and vegetables, and he discovered that, like animals never have to wipe their butt after they go for a crap, because they eat the right foods. So he discovered that after being on a strictly raw diet, he found that he didn't have to wipe. It's like you go and there's nothing there to wipe. You wipe and there's nothing there. So I thought I'd try it, and I did. And he was right. So, I mean, you have the so-called perfect poops, and there's nothing in there that's not digested. So it's all perfect. Your body wanted all that food. So it's just some food for thought about organics. Yeah, organics are the better way to go. But just because you're eating that organic soup, organic crackers or cookies or whatever, if another company made it, your best interests are not at heart. Granted, you can find juices now that are unpasteurized, and they put a warning on it, only good for 2 days or whatever. Like, keep in mind why in the old days milk was delivered to your house, and you couldn't keep that milk for more than a day or two. It would go bad. So it was always delivered in the morning so people could put on their cereals, and then you'd put the empty bottles out, and the next day you got another bottle back. So you didn't have to worry about keeping any in the fridge. I mean, it was just a constant cycling. But then the milk companies, they figured, oh my God, we've got to pay these drivers to deliver it, and they're going to want pensions and all kinds of perks to go along with it. So they said, well, geez, how can we get rid of these drivers, right? So then they made up this whole thing about somebody getting sick on pure cow's milk, and it was like one person. And this is what's crazy about society is they can be so easily brainwashed and fooled. One person gets sick, and they blow it out of proportion, and then people believe it. So then they started pasteurizing the milk, and they pasteurize it so much it doesn't even look or resemble like milk. So then they got to color it, add stuff to it, and eventually, you know what? When you start getting sick enough, and you realize that that cow that's got mucus coming out of its nipple, that they don't even care, they just use it anyway, and that's going to go into you. And you got to be careful what you put into your mouth, and so you're going to eventually figure all that out, and you're going to go over and you'll start doing things like organic almond milk, or make your own almond milk. That would be the best. Anyway, just because it's organic, I think, doesn't make it like 100% good for you. Like, I don't think you're going to get sick off of it, but it's way better than eating GMO and food with pesticides or growth hormones, or I mean, it's incredibly long, the list. Now, that carries right over into wine. If you do any research on wine, you'll find out there's something like 1,500 chemicals they can put in wine, and they don't have to put it on the label. Legally, they're allowed to do. So if you're like me, and your body reacts to stuff like that, like pesticides now, then you'll quickly figure it out. And when you drink wine or have a beer, and you have a reaction, that when you try organic, you don't get the reaction. And that should be opening your eyes right there. So whenever we can, we buy all organic stuff. And yes, we cheat. We do buy crackers. We do buy, because you need crackers in soup sometimes, right? So why buy the crappy crackers when you can buy organic? It's just sometimes you have to do stuff, right? Sometimes you have to. You're on the road and you just can't find anywhere that sells the food that you need. So sometimes you have to do that stuff. It's okay sometimes. It's okay. But for the most, like, I like being organic. My wife and I both enjoy eating organic, and we push it everywhere we go. If we go somewhere and we say, do you have, let's say, wine, right? Do you have any organic wine? They say, no, we walk out. We don't need wine that bad. Because we both know that alcohol is not a nutrient. Like, it's not something that my body looks at and goes, geez, I've been waiting for that for a long time. No. The first thing that happens when you drink alcohol is your body goes into a system of trying to get rid of it. It goes into a fighting system. It gets try to filter it out, try to get rid of it, because it's not a food. So basically, I think the body just, if it's not food, it thinks it's an invader, and it tries to get rid of it. Anyway, so we try to stick to everything organic. And the best way to go is just make your own food, and you know what's in it. Juice, as often as you can, your own juice that you make. And if you can't afford organic apples and stuff, get something that you can peel. Like take the pesticides off the apples. You can peel them, or go on YouTube. You'll see people pouring boiling water on everything. I just find that boiling water on the apple, yeah, it removes all the pesticides and wax and stuff, but it kind of cooks the outside, right? So you're going to want to juice that right away. Oranges you can peel to make orange juice. Bananas are the same. And you can overthink this stuff like way too much. So let's say you've got an orange and you know it's not organic, and you're pretty damn sure they sprayed these things, right? The spray goes into the soil gets wet by water, goes to the roots of that plant, tree, or whatever it is, sucks up that pesticide and everything up into the tree and into your fruits. So you got to be careful, and there's not a lot you can do. You can if you can't find organic stuff, try and find countries that don't use pesticides, and try to buy fruit that's labeled with that country name. Like, we pretty much believe everything in the U.S. has got pesticides, or it's GMO or something, so we just don't buy it unless we have to, right? We try to buy organic, and there's lots of places in the States that sell organic. We know that, you know, our government here is not stopping any of that poisonous food from going on the market. So we know that we're guilty of that too in Canada. So we're just very careful, and we remind each other all the time. You know, oh, was that organic? Oh, you know, so this is a good thing. We need to work together, you know, to keep ourselves in line. So if you can't afford all that organic stuff, I suggest getting stuff that you can wash with the hot water, or peel, or do something to try and get rid of most of it. And don't be foolish thinking, oh, if I wash these grapes under water, they're fine. No, they're not fine. These people that spray the food, like, who came up with that idea of poisoning our food? I don't. So these people that poison our food with sprays to keep the bugs off of them, or whatever they're doing, they all have different agendas, reasons, whatever. So they spray them with stuff that they know is not going to come off in the rain. So you rinsing it under water ain't going to cut it. Don't believe me. Try this. Take a white cloth, and before you eat every grape, wipe it in the cloth. Clean it, buff it. It won't even be 3 grapes later, and that white cloth won't be white anymore. That would have went into your body. So just letting you guys be aware of what's out there. And I think organic's great way to go. But you should be trying to eat organic raw more than organic cooked food. And if you have to eat organic cooked food, organic's the way to go, right? But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video. It was one I've been meaning to put out there, because everybody's on this organic craze, but they don't understand that pasteurized and cooked and everything, it changes everything, right? You don't get the nutrition. It just goes right through you. Your body doesn't want it. And you can do these things yourself. Just do yourself a coffee enema and look back at what's in there, in that toilet, and you'll see what's floating there is all the stuff that didn't get digested. And it will never get digested because it's not something your body wants. All right? Anyway, have a nice day, guys. Bye.